Shabuna. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
It's a great day.
Amen.
It's the holy Shabbat day and the first day of CHOKMAH. You know, it's funny, you know, because we was invited to Egypt. Jacob was invited to Egypt with his empty soul, and everything was good. All of a sudden, come a king, a pharaoh, saying that, I don't know what got into him, and he says, the children of the Israelites are more than us, and they multiply more than us, and come, let's deal with them in an evil way in case we have a war with the enemy, that they will go to the side of the enemy and fight against us and then get them out of the land. We didn't want to leave Egypt. He just concocted that out of his mind. But the way things work out sometimes is that in every adversity, there's a silver lining. And we are the people coming back to praise this great king. We can say with a loud voice and be proud, oh, give thanks to Jehovah, for he's good.
For his mercy endures forever.
There you go. That's what I want to hear. His mercy endures forever. Because he's our redeemer. He's our all in all. Without him, there's nothing happening. You can say what you feel like. You can say luck, you can say this, but without him, there's nothing happening. He's the God of the past, present, and the future. And he's going to be always around. And his love for us will never end. He says, the great king of Israel says, when your mother and your father forsake you, then Jehovah will lift you up. Because man will forsake you, but God will continue to hold you down if you respect his statutes, ordinances, and his commandment. And I am proud to be an Israelite. Trust me, I use that. I carry that banner with a zeal. I'm telling you, I don't want you to carry it the way I carry it, but I carry it with a zeal. God, I enjoy this. I enjoy this. I enjoy this more than rock and roll, than the twists, than the spinning on the head. I enjoy this. This is what I enjoy. Because breakdancing, thank you. Because this is what God, I dealing with an entity that created the heaven and earth. Amen. And that's why I enjoy it. I have power. Yes. And you might sound like, well, damn, Chief, you're going a little bit too deep. I have power. You know why? Because I have a father of mine here in this book that I'm going to read, that he stopped the sun. Amen. Yeah, he stopped. He said, sun, stop. And it stopped. Yeah, it stand still. I came from this blood. So there's going to come a time that it's going to happen again. Because everything that happened to Moshe coming down in the 40 years with us happened to this gentleman here, Joshua, the son of Nun. And we're going to read a little part of it. What time it is? Okay, 12:15? Good. Yeah. We're going to read a little bit about this great minister. God called him a minister. When we look at minister, we think a guy in the church. But this is a guy that ministered to Moshe. He was always beside him, and what Moshe needed, he was right there. He's a right-hand man. Amen. That's what a minister is, the right-hand man. Amen. And the Most High God peeked that and watched that and said, he's the man in line. Not Moshe's sons. Right. He said, God don't play nepotism. Right. That's not in it. He called Aharon because Aharon at that time was a good speaker. And Moshe needed a good speaker. Because Moshe he was slow of speech. So he called Aharon to do the job. But not because God doing nepotism. He don't play it like that. He called the right person for the job that can do the job. And that's the type of God we deal with. So let's go to Joshua 1 first before we go to the Torah. Okay. Let's see what God talking about. Read on, my brother.
We're in the book of Yehoshua, which is Joshua, chapter 1, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Now it came to pass after the death of Moses, the servant of Yahweh, that Yahweh spoke unto Yehoshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, into the land which I do give unto them, even unto the children of Yisrael. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, to you have I given it, as I have spoken to Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even into the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your border.
Okay, let's go down to 5.
There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life.
Okay.
As I was with Moses,
yes,
so I will be with thee.
Yes.
I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Be strong and of good courage, for thou shalt cause this people to inherit the land which I swore unto their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous to observe to do all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand nor to the left, that thou mayest have good success whithersoever thou goest.
Keep going.
This book of the law
there it is.
Shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy ways prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Have I not commanded thee? Be strong and of good courage. Be not affrighted, neither be thou dismayed. For Yahweh thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest.
That's empowerment. That's right. He reassuring. That's right. This type of stuff here is reassurance. That's right. Don't be scared. Only be strong and have good courage. Keep that book in your thoughts, so you'll have good success. And that's what this is the blueprint for us. This is the blueprint right here. This is the blueprint right here. God said it to Joshua. We need to follow this blueprint. We as a people need to take a page out of this and follow it a little bit to see if our ways will change, to see if our way of life will change. Because, you know, when you meditate, and us as a people that came back, I figure it was 1919, the Rabbi Ford and them came here, started in 1919. We haven't have a place that the people could say, wow, we haven't have a place like that yet. Our place always a little small place. It's not an astonishment, like you said, whoa, look at this place. We don't have it like that. So maybe we need to change our way of doing things. Maybe, because we're supposed to be the light unto the world.
Amen.
We're supposed to be the light unto the world. So we're supposed to look like we are the light of the world. We're supposed to look like God's people.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We're supposed to look like that. So we need to change up maybe our ways and see things might work a different way. Let's go to the portion of the day. Thank you.
We're in the book of Yehoshua. Chapter 5, verse 2. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
At that time, Yahweh spoke unto Joshua, make thee knives of flint, and circumcise again the children of Yisrael the second time. And Joshua made him knives of flint and circumcised the children of Yisrael at Gibeat Ha'alarot. And this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise all the people that came forth out of Egypt, that were males. Even all the men of war died in the wilderness by the way, after they came forth from Egypt.
Yeah, I can't believe that here we are, the children that born in the wilderness, they wasn't circumcised. Our mind was on something else.
Right.
Our minds was fighting against Moshe, fighting against Aharon, fighting against God, but we wasn't paying attention to the thing that we had to do. Commandment. We wasn't paying attention to commandment. Because we were circumcised our children, because we were circumcised in Egypt. That was something that implemented with the great man Abraham. And we knew about that. Jacob, everybody was that, but our mind was more attentive to arguing and fight against God and murmur against him.
Amen.
Yeah, so we didn't circumcise our children. Read on, my brother.
5. For all the people that came out were circumcised, but all the people that were born in the wilderness by the way as they came forth out of Egypt had not been circumcised. For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness, till all the nation, even the men of war that came forth out of Egypt, were consumed, because they hearkened not unto the voice of Yahweh, unto whom Yahweh swore that he would not let them see the land which Yahweh swore unto their fathers that he would give us, a land flowing with milk and honey.
Because all we did was fight against God. Our forefathers fight against God all the way. They complained straight through from we brought them out of Mizraim, even though we begged to come out of there, all we did was complain. We wanted water. We wanted steak. We wanted oxtail. We wanted fish. We wanted everything. Right. We complained. All we did was complain. And we throw the blame on Moshe. We throw the blame on Aharon. Everybody we could throw the blame on, we did that.
Amen.
And we saw the greatness of the Most High God. We saw the plague, the 10th plague. We saw one of the greatest miracles of the world. The world knew about when the Sea of Reed opened, Yam Suf. Everybody knew. The people in Jericho, you're going to see, they knew about it already.
That's right.
Everybody knew about the Sea of Reed open up. And the children of Israel walked over in dry land. And we're the only one that didn't take cognizance of that. Because right after we came over there, we was thirsty. You think it's a joke? The minute we came over, we was thirsty.
Amen.
We wouldn't give it a break. And God was very upset with us about that. And a lot of people lost their life in that voyage. God was very upset, and a lot of people lost their life because we constantly bicker, and argue. And we never put our trust in the Most High God. And we hated the land. And we talk about the leeks and the cucumber and the fried fish and all the great thing in Egypt, but we were getting our ass kicked. But we didn't worry about that. Yeah. We was talking about all the stuff that we thought was great in the land, but we were getting our butt whipped all day long.
Amen. All day.
All day long, every day. And we cry out to the Most High God, and he said, I heard them crying out to me. But all of a sudden now, we out of Mitzrayim, and we miss the cucumbers and the leeks and the carrots. We miss all of that. Yeah, all of that. So, you know, ungratefulness caused us to be in Brooklyn.
Right.
Yeah, that's how come we're here. Because we was ungrateful, ingrate. With all the greatness. And God said it. God, when you hear the Most High God speaking to the prophet, he says, I kicked them out the land because they didn't serve me with gladness of heart, with all the things that I gave them.
Amen.
And you feel bad for that. You feel, it's come like a father that gives his children everything, and they bring home C-.
Right.
I said, damn, you can't give me at least a B?
Nothing better than that. Right.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah, that's how you feel like a father, that you give him everything. Anytime you look around, you have like $400 sneakers, you have all the best, you have a diesel jean, you got all the best, but you don't bring home nothing good in school. And it make you feel terrible. Yeah. And the guy that using kids bringing home a B+, and A+.
Right.
And it make you feel, that's how God felt about us. That's how God felt about us. That we had everything, but we didn't serve him with gladness of heart. We suck our teeth and said, today's the Shabbat again?
Yeah.
That's what it was. And God was very angry about us.
Amen.
Because he gave us the rain and the latter rain.
Amen.
Country never get rain and latter rain. We got surplus in food. And food is important to have. Yeah. So our main objective in this life now is material thing. But the best thing in life to have food, clothing, and shelter.
That's right.
Amen.
That's right.
Yeah, the basic. That's how come we multiply a lot in Goshen, because we had a lot of food. Yeah, and when you have plenty of food, your mind is relaxed, your wife's mind is relaxed, and we have children. Yeah, that's what happens when your mind is relaxed. When you don't have no stress, you say, hey, let's have some children.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. Because your mind is relaxed.
Totally with you.
Yeah. Your mind is relaxed. There's nothing to do, so let's have a couple of kids. Because everything is going good. Everything is good. You know? Let's read on, my brother.
7. And he raised up their children in their stead. Them did Yehoshua circumcise, for they were uncircumcised because they had not been circumcised by the way. And it came to pass when all the nation was circumcised, every one of them, that they abode in their places in the camp till they were whole. And Yehoshua said unto Joshua, this day have I rolled away the reproach of Egypt from off of you. Wherefore the name of this place was called, that place was called Gilgal unto this day.
Yeah, I rolled away the hate from you.
That's right.
The disdain from you.
That's right.
So when you come to this way of life, and brothers are telling you that you have to go to the hospital and get that circumcision. It's a disdain if you continue having it. You have to get that procedure done.
That's right.
You got to get that procedure done. I know you meditate a lot on it, but if you trust in God, it come out good. So the children that is 8 days old, you don't have to worry about it. But most of us came here when we a little, in age, and we fret about it and we worry about it. But trust in God, it will come out good.
Right.
It worked out pretty good. Read on, my brother.
10. And the children of Yisrael encamped in Gilgal, and they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month at even in the plains of Jericho. And they did eat of the produce of the land on the morrow after the Passover, unleavened cakes and parched corn in the self-same day.
That's today.
Right.
That's right now today. Don't get confused with tomorrow. Because most of the English language said tomorrow, but tomorrow means the next day.
Right.
The next day. That's all it means. The next day.
Amen.
That's right.
That's all it means. The next day. That's all it means. The next day, and that's we was glad. And everything in its due time. God said you're gonna have. We had the psalmist put it that we ate angel food. It came from heaven. God fed us with the food from heaven. No other people in the world ever had that. Nobody. We are special people.
Amen.
I walk with a banner. Yeah, serious. Everybody. I have some friend and they say, "Who do you think he's all that?" But I'm a king.
Amen.
Yeah, that's the way I feel.
Amen.
I don't walk with my head down and no, I don't. I don't. Even at my job, I walk with my head up like I own the company.
Amen.
But that's the way it is. I'm a godly man and I walk with pride. That's the way it's supposed to be. And it's the way we're supposed to be.
Amen.
We respect the law of the land and respect God. And everything will go good because, the people of the land are very, very forward with the evil that they're doing to us because that guy in the White House.
Right.
He's who causing the policemen to be so aggressive with us and taking our life unnecessarily.
Right.
Because it's that type of speech. You understand? But you know what? God sees all.
Amen.
And God judges the great and the small.
That's right.
That's right. He judges. He judges. So it's not for us to rouse up.
Right.
I mean, it hurt because it's one of us and the human being. You don't even shoot a dog, a pit bull 20 times and 8 times in his back. You don't even do to a pit bull like that. But that's the way that guy in the White House speak.
You do it to that lady in Staten Island.
Exactly. They didn't do it to the lady in Staten Island. They do. They didn't do it to Nicholas Cruz that killed 70 people. They make sure and kept him alive. And right now they're saying, well, he's sick and maybe something with his head and something, maybe the movie that he watched or too much sound. What about crazy and deranged?
Right.
That's going on in the vocabulary of the people now.
Just evil.
It's evil. Thank you. It's all evil, but everybody forget about that word. Everybody talking about maybe the movie that he had, and you watch too much of this and watch too much of that. No, it's just crazy and deranged. You need to put him to sleep.
Amen.
But he not put him to sleep because his complexion, he got the complexion for the protection.
That's right.
Let's read on.
12. And the manna ceased on the morrow, after they had eaten of the produce of the land. Neither had the children of Israel manna anymore, but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year.
Torah, yeah.
And it came to pass, when Joshua was by Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went up to him and said, Art thou for us or for our adversary?
He had that because God reassured him that, give him that power, give him that strength, that he could go up to, he don't know who it is, the guy have a sword drawn, and he went up to him. Are you for the enemy or are you for us? Read on.
Right.
And what the gentleman
14.
said, yeah?
And he said, Nay. But I am the captain of the host of Yahweh.
Here it is.
I am now come. And Yehoshua fell on his face to the earth and bowed down and said unto him, What saith my Lord unto his servant?
Yes.
And the captain of Yahweh's host said unto Joshua, Put off thy shoes from off thy foot, for the place whereon thou standest is holy. And Yehoshua did so.
It's the same thing happened to Moshe. The same type of entity. Maybe not the same one, but the same type of entry. Take them shoes off. Because this area here is holy ground. And the same thing happened, the same word happened to Moshe. Read on, my brother. Let's go to 6.
Chapter 6, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in.
Okay.
Stop here, right?
Yeah. And Jehovah said,
And Jehovah said unto Yehoshua, See, I have given into thy hand Jericho and the king thereof, even the mighty men of valor. And ye shall compass the city, all the men of war, going about the city once. Thou shalt do 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear 7 rams' horns before the ark. And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times. And the priest shall blow with the horns, and it shall be when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when ye hear the sound of the horn, all the people shall shout with a great shout. And the wall of the city shall fall flat down, and the people shall go up every man straight before him.
okay, these are instructions. This is what God's saying to Joshua, to what's going to happen. We're going to go around Jericho 1 time a day, but on the 7th day, we're going to go around 7 times. When you hear the horn blowing, waxing loud, then everybody going to shout, water going to come down flat. Joshua, God is putting fright into the people in Jericho because here's the people marching around. You can imagine living in a place and just see people marching around your compound and say, what the hell are they doing? What's going on? And people, no talking, nobody bickering, and they're carrying a thing full of gold, and it back and forth. It put a fright in you because you don't know. Because in those days, what we see today that you call gated community, that's all we live a long time. With gated community, it's always at the gate. That's gated community is not new. That's something that been before a long time. So the Jericho is completely shut up. Nobody's coming out, nobody's coming in. There's no food. Eventually, there won't be no food. That happened to us eventually in the Kings. When the Syrian came, they do us the same thing. It's called the siege and the straightness.
Right.
When we start eating our children, and people say, no, we don't do all them things, we Israelites. Shoot. We eat the children too. Yeah, we was like that too. We got siege and straightness like that. Read on, my brother. Let's continue see what happened. Yeah.
And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests, and said unto them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 rams' horns before the ark of Yahweh. And he said unto the people, Pass on, and compass the city, and let the armed body pass on before the ark of Yahweh. And it was so. And when Yehoshua had spoken unto the people, the 7 priests bearing 7 rams' horns before Yahweh passed on, and blew with the horns. And the ark of the covenant of Yahweh followed them. And the armed men went before the priests, that they blew the horns, and the rearward went after the ark, the priests blowing with the horns continually. And Joshua commanded the people, saying, Ye shall not shout, nor let your voice be heard, neither let any word proceed out of your mouth, until the day that I bid you shout, then shall ye shout. So he caused the ark of Yahweh to pass the city round about, going about it once. And it came into the camp, and lodged in the camp. And Yehoshua rose up early in the morning. And the priests took up the ark of Yahweh. And the 7 priests bearing 7 rams' horns before the ark of Yahweh went on continually, and blew with the horns. And the armed men went before them, and the rearward came after the ark of Yahweh, the priests blowing with the horns continually. And the 2nd day they compassed the city once, and returned into the camp. And so they did 6 days. And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose up early at the dawning of the day, and commanded this, and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on the day they compassed, on that day they compassed the city 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priests blew with the horns, that Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for Yahweh has given you the city, and the city shall be devoted, even it and everyone in it, to Yahweh. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that were with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And ye in any wise shall keep yourselves from the devoted thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed by taking of the devoted thing. So shall ye make the camp of Israel accursed and trouble it.
So God is letting them know that the 2 young men that came into Jericho earlier, that you're going to save her and her family, because you swore and you made a oath with her that you wouldn't hurt the people of the land. I mean, you won't hurt her and her family. So you have to keep that oath. But the Most High is big on oath. If you made a oath, you have to fulfill it. So he's telling you, make sure that you protect that lady with her family and bring them out. Just don't hurt her, because that's the oath that you made with her, and she keep you two guys alive, because she hid them and everybody knew they was inside Jericho, but she hid them and she did it. So be paying back the favor. And it says, keep away from the devoted thing. In other words, the clothes that they wear, the silver, the gold, and the brass, leave it alone. The devoted thing, you don't touch it. Read on. Let's finish it up right here.
19. But all the silver and the gold, and the vessels of brass and iron, are holy unto Yahweh. They shall come into the treasury of Yahweh. So the people shouted, and the priests blew with the horns. And it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the horn, that the people shouted with a great shout, and the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city.
Yes.
And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, both young and old, ox and sheep, and ass, with the edge of the sword. And Joshua said unto the two men that had spied out the land, go into the harlot's house, and bring out thence the woman, and all that she have, as ye swore unto her.
There it is. Fulfill that oath that you did with that woman. Bring out their family. Read on.
23. And the young men, the spies, went in and brought out Rahab and her father and her mother, and all her brethren, and all that she had, all her kindred, also they brought out. And they set them without the camp of Israel. And they burnt the city with fire. And all that was therein, only the silver and the gold and the vessels of brass and iron, they put into the treasury of the house of Yahweh. But Rahab the harlot and her father's household, and all that she had, did Yehoshua save alive. And she dwelt in the midst of Israel unto this day, because she hid the messengers whom Yehoshua sent to spy out Jericho.
And she was the harlot. And she was the harlot, and we saved her, and she lived among us with her family. So, God does things in a mysterious way because he's God.
Right.
You understand? So sometimes we need to be careful how we just speak about people, because there's people that good all over.
Amen.
And people does a lot of good things that maybe you don't like it, but they're good people. So, we have to keep ourselves the right way. Don't worry about people. Don't worry about, because sometimes you put too much essence in people's life and you don't worry about your life.
Right.
Amen. Amen.
That's right.
Talk about it.
You put too much emphasis on other people's life. Keep yours. Yours is what's going to keep you alive. Don't worry about other people. You can't pick up all that responsibility. You're on other people's life and on yours too. It doesn't work like that. It's too much on your mind.
Right.
You understand? So because we see about himself, oh, she's an harlot. Yeah, but she did a good favor to Israel. That's why she be coming into the Jericho safe, because she did that. She hid the gentleman. They hid there 3 days. They went back. She did all of that goodness. So you made her oath. So then you save her alive. And she lived with us. It's not that they despise her and say you can't live with us because he's a harlot. She lived with us. Read on, but let's finish it out.
26. And Yehoshua charged the people with an oath at that time, saying, Cursed be the man before Yahweh that riseth up and buildeth this city, even Jericho. With the loss of his firstborn shall he lay the foundation thereof, and with the loss of his youngest shall he set up the gates of it. So Yahweh was with Yehoshua, and his fame was in all the land. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. This is a great week.
It is.
And it's nothing like the unleavened week. And it's to keep us from leaven. We never eat leaven that much. We are people that always had unleavened bread. Yeah, and bread that leaven tastes good, but we are people that eat unleavened bread all through our lifetime. So let's ask God to keep us strong.
Amen. And
keep our mind off of the leaven, and let's enjoy this week. And if we could come to the camp and hang out, let's come to the camp and hang out.
Amen.
Yeah, after work, let's come to the camp and say we razzle up a little something, a soup, some unleavened cake, and enjoy the week. Because it's a liberation time.
That's right.
And we need to have fun in it. It's not a dull trouble day. It's not a bad week. It's a good week. Yes. It's a week that our forefathers were liberated from the land of Mitzrayim, Egypt.
Need to get some unleavened frosting.
There you go. So I thank you for your time. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Please be seated. Thanking the creator of heaven and earth for our lives once again. Thanking the Most High God for this season. Thanking Yahweh for the unity of family being together during this season. This is the time of our liberation from the Egyptians and from under Pharaoh's hand. Amen. And we are grateful to God for this time, and this is our Independence Day, our liberation. This is all of that stuff. Our New Year and all the things that come with it that we rejoice in. Although it seems like it's a little bit colder this year, but we thank the Most High God for this season, and we thank the Most, and we acknowledge Yahweh for being great to us. It's a blessing truly to be here, to understand the seasons, because the Most High God told us that this should be the beginning of months unto us. Right. So we know that a lunar calendar roughly has, a lunar month has roughly what? 29, 28 and a half days, something like that. So last night, because some of us that toughed it out and stayed here till, some of us stayed here actually. You know what I'm saying? Some people midstream, they just, they just bailed out. It's all right. You're one? But we were here. A few of us stayed here. And when I went home about 5 o'clock this morning, so I could freshen up, and come back out here, I seen the moon. When I looked at the moon, it was full. It was full. It was full. So it makes sense. Because if you look at a month, right? If the beginning of the month is the dark this or the new moon, right? The 15th day would be the full moon, which is the total opposite, right? So when the Most High God told us that this should be the beginning of months, which starts with the dark moon, and then we get to the middle of the month, which is the 15th day, and then when you go to the Naval Observatory and they tell you, yeah, in New York City, Brooklyn, New York, you should see, you should have a full moon by 8:37 a.m. in the morning. So when I'm 5:30 in the morning, it's probably about 99.9% ready to be a full moon, but we are in the right season. Okay. And we thank the Creator for that. We thank the Creator for that because we in sync. And it's a blessing. This is also this month, March 2018. Anybody knows where the saying once in a blue moon come from? Anybody? No, I already told you this morning, and I told you. Once in a blue moon. So that saying comes from, there's a rare phenomenon that happens with the moon. Sometimes in a calendar month, you will get 2 full months within a calendar month. So this was one of those months. On March 1st, there was a full moon. And on March 31st, which is today, there's also a full moon. So you will get that every now and then. And even with our way of life, with our calendar, because we follow a lunar cycle. We don't follow a solar cycle. But we have to make adjustments as time goes on, because if you don't make adjustments, then Pesach will be out of whack. Okay. And we know that Pesach goes with barley and certain things that come along. So every now and then we have to make the adjustments and add the second Adar, the second month of Adar. Every 2 to 3 years or something like that, we have to add a second Adar so that we won't go out of whack, because those are adjustments. The Most High God told us He gave us the sun, moon, and stars for times and for seasons. So we wouldn't only be dictating how we live only through the moon, but we will also have to use the sun and the stars and everything that's there. So as technology advanced and things got better, and we understood that it takes 365 days for what? The earth to revolve around the sun? Yes. That's how it goes, right? Yes. Make that revolution around the sun, and it takes what? A 24-hour time for the earth to revolve around its axis. That's how it goes? 24 hours for the earth to revolve around its axis. So we had to make adjustments because our forefathers was looking at one thing one way, but then as time went on, if we counted by lunar calendar, we will only have like 354 days in a year. But with a solar calendar, we understand there's 365, so we have to lockstep all of that because God said he gave us the sun, moon, and stars for times and for seasons. So advancements comes on. Am I right or wrong? Because we advance. Just like with language. The brother was talking about the Paleo Hebrew last week, right? What they call Paleo Hebrew, what we know is ancient Hebrew, right? But that's a, Phoenician language? Or that came from the Phoenician alphabet. Right. So that means that a group of people were sharing the alphabet, am I right or wrong? Amen. Now you got Romance languages, right? Which is what? French, Latin, and whatever other language that they got. They got these Romance languages. They all use the same alphabet. English even uses the alphabet. But you won't understand some words because it's way out of your range. But it's the same alphabet. But as we go along, we might improve on things. It doesn't mean that it's bad.
Right. Okay. All right.
So we stopped using that Phoenician alphabet and we started using the Aramaic alphabet. But it doesn't change the meaning of words.
True.
Right.
It's still, we still recognize it as Hebrew. So now the European, he speaks Yiddish, but he uses the same Aramaic alphabet. But he could tell you something in Yiddish and you don't understand what he's saying. Right. But he got the same letters.
Right.
So, God didn't teach us to be a stagnant people. No, we're not. God didn't say stay in one place and be stagnant. No.
Right.
We're going to make improvements. We're going to see things. So if we got the Naval Observatory and we got places like this that actually could give us things to the T, to the hour, to the minute, to the second, then what's wrong with that? There wouldn't be anything wrong with that.
Amen.
We got to learn that this God made us a people to think and to have understanding. A wise and understanding people. So we thank the Most High God for this day, for this season, and I'm grateful because last night we had a good time. That's why, to the people online, that's why we started so late, because we was here till late. We had good food, great food. Great food. Everything was great. Everybody was here just having a good time. I'm still tired because sleeping on the chair is not my MO, and I wasn't too happy with that, but I toughed it out. But it was great, and we enjoyed ourselves. And to the people online also, we had some bad connection earlier this morning, so we apologize for that. Hopefully everything is streaming perfectly now, and we hope that you will be able to forgive us for that and understand that sometimes with technology things don't go that perfect. So let us open up the book of Exodus chapter 12. This is supposed to be, once again, Chief Benjamin. He ain't here.
Oh. Okay. Right. I see.
We're going to talk about this time and this journey that our people had to go through. This is a blessed season. Whether you think it or not, this is a season where we're supposed to be uplifted. You know, when I was in, which was many moons ago, when I was in Christianity, we used to stay up to midnight to open gifts. And those of you that experienced that, you knew what was the excitement that came with that. You know, if Ima or Abba bought you that thing that you wanted, and you waited till midnight to rip the gift open, you know, that was an excitement to that. And then the next day, you're going to have the family over. You know, you ate ham, turkey, cranberry sauce. You ate all these things. You know, those of you that wasn't born in this way of life. But it was a festive moment.
Amen.
It was happiness. It was all these things that was going on. Tomorrow, they're going to celebrate Easter, right? Yesterday, they had Good Friday. So now, Good Friday is supposedly the day when when Jesus had his Last Supper with his disciples, and he made that, I believe that that's what Good Friday was.
Another killing that day.
Yeah, they killed them that day. It was something with Good Friday. Or was it, it was the Friday before, one or the other. I know that the Sunday before was Palm Sunday, right? And that was supposed to be when he came into Jerusalem and everybody was saying, Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna. You know, but, and then they said that he was hated and despised. He was supposed to be the person they was talking about in Isaiah 53, but he was never hated and despised because everywhere that he went, he had world renown. Everybody loved him, but that's another story for another day. You know, he, so yesterday they celebrated Good Friday and tomorrow is going to be Easter Sunday. But Easter Sunday, I think, symbolizes the time of his resurrection when he rose up from the dead. You know, so this is what's going on. But even in Easter Sunday, when you went to Mass, you know, you got 2 sets of new clothes. Yeah. You know, everybody was festive. It was like when you was in that world, you got the clothes to go to Coney Island, and then you got the clothes to go to church. Yeah. Moms always make sure that you had 2 sets of clothes. Yeah. Because after you went to church, then you was going to go to the Himalayas. Because you usually had the same week off. You know what I'm saying? You're going to go to that cyclone. You're going to hang out. And that's what happened. You know, so we got to have the same excitement that we have for these days, you know what I mean, that we have for the days that are appointed for the Most High God. Because I remember that. I remember that baby blue 3-piece suit with your tie. You be going to church. Then you wait to come home because you knew you had them new sneakers, new jeans, and you was going to go through the neighborhood. You was going to go all the way to Coney Island to go out there in front. You don't got 1 cent in your pocket, but you look good. That's just how it was, you know. But that's the type of joy we supposed to have for these days, that our children supposed to look forward to observing these days and observing these seasons. It's a blessing. And we got to understand that it's a blessing. Let us go to the portion, Exodus chapter 12. You can start from 1. Start from 1.
We're in the book of Shemot, which is Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe and Aharon in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you a beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year unto you. Speak ye unto the congregation of Yisrael, saying, In the 10th day of this month, that they shall take them every man a lamb, according to the father's houses, a lamb for a household.
So we call this month the beginning of months, like we reiterate every year. The 7th month is the month of Etanim. That's never a beginning of month for the children of Israel. Amen. Abib is the beginning of months unto us. Let us go.
4. And if a household be too little for a lamb, then shall he and his neighbor next unto his house take according to the number of the souls. According to every man's eating, ye shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish. A male of the first year ye shall take it from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it unto the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Yisrael shall kill it at dusk.
So everyone is appointed to grab a lamb at the beginning of this month. So now people think that you just grab the lamb at the last minute. Nah, that goes on from the beginning of the month. You grab that lamb, you set it aside because you don't want that lamb to get bruised up. Right. You don't want that lamb to get beat up. You don't want anything to happen to this. Why? Because this is an offering, a sacrifice before the Most High God. So whenever you offer something to God, it has to be perfect. Whenever we come before God, we have to be right. Because God don't accept less from us. He wants perfection and he wants righteousness from us. So it's indicating to each person, listen, according to your household, grab a lamb. So maybe your household might be 15 people. You might need to grab 3 lambs. Right. It might be just 2 of you. You only need 1. It might be just 1 of you. See what your neighbor got next door. So God is teaching us that not only do I want you to do this right, but I also want you to be concerned about your neighbor next door. Amen. Because I don't want this thing to go to waste. I want y'all to eat this, and at the end of it, I don't want really any to remain, but if any remain, then God is going to specify what we do with the remainder of this offering that we do before him. Let us go.
7. And they shall take of the blood and put it on the 2 side posts, and on the lintel, and on the houses where they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread with bitter herbs shall they eat it.
So it's telling us that this is us leaving Egypt. So this is the first Passover night. So it's indicating or is letting the people know what they should do. What is the process? So after you slay this lamb, right? You cut his throat, you drain the blood. It says, I want you to put the blood upon the 2 side posts and upon the lintel, right? Because I need this to be done for a particular reason. Let us go.
9. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire its heads with its legs and with the inwards thereof.
Hold on for a second. So God commanded us to eat it with unleavened bread, with bitter herbs, right? And this lamb, he said he don't want us to eat it sodden or raw. Right. Now, that jumped out at me because I said, who eats raw food? You know what I'm saying? But we live amongst the people that eat raw food. They said, listen,
give me a red lamb.
I want that. Some people said medium rare, and some people said they want it red. That means they only want the fire to hit it perhaps for 1 minute. Just when it get on that grill, just 1 minute on one side, 1 minute on the other side. You're eating raw food. Yeah, they want to eat blood. They want to eat raw flesh. This is what this European is used to. That's what he does. But God told us that we can't eat this offering like that. He said you can't stew it.
No, you can't stew it. You don't want to.
No, you don't. I know we could make some good, some sisters in here that could cook. Could make some nice stew. But God don't want it that way. He said he wanted with everything. Roasted whole. With the pertinence there. That means his insides and everything. Everything. He wants this thing to be complete when you roast it. Let us go.
10. And ye shall let nothing of it remain unto the morning, but that which remaineth of it unto the morning ye shall burn with fire.
You shall burn with fire. That's what he don't want waste with this. That's why he said if your house, if you got a lamb for your house and you don't have enough people in your house, go to your next door neighbor. So that way this thing could be exact and there won't be any waste. So it teaches us something about waste. Am I right or wrong?
Amen.
God don't want us to be a wasteful people. So when you take your mother's food because you don't like it and you just throw, hey, Shalom, what's up, Israel? Or when you take your mother's food because you don't like it and you just throw it in the ice pot, something is wrong with you. God don't like waste.
No.
Your parents certainly don't like waste because they work hard to get you that food.
That's right.
I think that's why I'm so big, because I refuse to waste food. Like some people know how to back off. I be like, because my mother used to tell me, well, I didn't buy that stuff to be wasted. You better eat that. That's what you asked for. So you sit there, when you like old school, you just sit there and you be like, and you just keep pushing yourself. But there's a way to eat also where you don't eat that much, where you don't eat that much. But God doesn't want us to waste. He doesn't want us to throw things away because there's so many people in the world, that don't have. There's people right around the corner from you that's starving, but you throwing food away.
Yes, that's right.
And you know how you know you're throwing food away? When you go by your garbage, like in my neighborhood, the cats rip up all the bags. And you see all the food that's wasted. Good food. Not like bones and stuff. They're talking about food. We waste. I eat a slice of pizza all the way down to the crust. I don't throw nothing away. Because I don't like wasting food. You might say you greedy, Ooze. That's what it is. But it's a mentality that you have when it's put into you from when you're young, not to waste food. The children, they don't want to eat leftovers. You got some kids, you leave leftovers in the refrigerator, they don't want to eat that. They be like, I don't want to eat that. Be like, hold on. They be like, Abba, there's nothing to eat. What? You open the refrigerator and you be like,
it's everything to eat.
It's everything to eat, man. What are you talking about? They want you to take that and throw it in the hot spot. Throw it in the garbage. Be like, no, we're going to warm this all up. We're going to warm this up for 4 days in a row if we have to. You're going to learn to eat these leftovers. Because we're not supposed to be a wasteful people.
No, we're not supposed to.
I buy water in the house, and like the water's like that. And you just get, let me see that. You get this, half bottles every day. Half all over the house. Half bottles. Half bottles. Everywhere. That's waste. Half bottles. Look, right there, look, he got it. Look, he got that half bottle right there. I'm not lying. That bottle gonna stay like that. You go around the house, you drain it, you throwing your money away. Waste. We can't be that people. We can't be a wasteful people.
No, we can't.
And sometimes you be like, should I drink that water? But you know, kids do all types of nasty stuff. You're like, I'm not drinking that. They do that. You see them playing with the water. If that was just to drink it, you know, you'd be like, all right, let me grab that because it's my kid anyway. But when they start playing with the water, you don't want to drink after them. Saliva and floaties all in there. You're like, nah, I'm not drinking after them. To them ninjas, man. Let them ninjas do what they do. So I figure I got to get wise and get like the little nips like this that they'll drink it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because maybe the 12-ounce bottle, you figure, me, when I go drink water, a 12-ounce bottle is just right. I guzzle it down. No waste. But with them, goodness gracious. Let us go. 11.
And thus shall you eat it, with your loins girded.
Because we leaving in a rush. So we got to be ready to go. Let's go.
Your shoes on your feet.
Put your shoes on your feet. Let's go.
And your staff in your hand.
Your staff in your hand.
And you shall eat it in haste. It is Jehovah's Passover.
It's not Albert's Passover. No. It's not John's Passover. It's not the other one's Passover. It's Jehovah's Passover. So you have to follow the instructions the way that Yah say you must do it. Amen. Any way that you deviate from it, you're doing your own thing. That's right. Amen. That's what happened to the two sons of Aaron. Yeah. They wanted to do something different. Yeah. They wanted to do something extra that God didn't ask for. Amen. God is very specific in what he wants. He don't want more, he don't want less. So this is what I want. Yeah. Separated on the first day of the month. Yeah. Right? Put it to the side. Prepare it. This is how I want you to prepare it. That's that. That's all I want. I don't want anything more. I don't want anything less. Let us go.
12. For I will go through the land of Egypt in that night, and I will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. Against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgments. I am Yehovah.
And all those 10 plagues, God had already executed judgment on the gods of Egypt. Oh, yeah. And now he was going to take away their firstborn because they started murdering the firstborn of Israel, or the male children in Israel. Right. So now God was going to exact his judgment. You see, our God is not just a love God. Amen. He's not a God that just love. You do his people wrong, he's going to do you some wrong. Amen. And that's how it works. Just weights and just balance. That's his delight. Let us go.
13. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and there shall be no plague upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt.
You know there was some sellout Uncle Tom Israelites that thought they was Egyptians. You know that, right? So man, they ain't gonna do nothing. I ain't putting no blood on my door. I'm good here. I'm good in Egypt. You know there was that. Yeah. Because rebellion is part of our DNA. Yeah. That's why I call us children, because children rebel. That's right. You got to tell them more than once. So you knew that there was that kind of Israelite that thinks that way. I'm not doing anything. But God was very specific. He said, take that blood and make sure you put it around your door and make sure that this happens during this time and that you're doing thus and thus and thus. Let us go.
14. And this day shall be to you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to Yahweh throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by ordinance forever. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Howbeit, the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day even unto the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel.
That soul shall be cut off. Very specific. Get the leaven out your house.
That's it.
You start eating leavened bread from the 14th day at evening. Get that leaven out your house, because you did not have time, as it shows here, you didn't have time to make that dough sour so that you could put it in fresh dough, knead it again, and let that expand. And then put it in the oven and bake it. You didn't have time for that. So that's why when we make our unleavened bread, we make it in the griddle, right? Because that's quick and fast, right? You flip it one side, the other side, boom, there you got the unleavened bread. Let us go.
16. And in the first day there shall be to you a holy convocation. And in the 7th day shall be a holy convocation. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat.
Must eat.
That only must be done by you.
Only that must be done by you. Let's go.
And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For in this self-same day I have brought your hosts out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day throughout your generations by an ordinance forever.
Forever. So we could keep these days in these lands. As long as we have the power in our hands to do it, we could keep it. It says forever. Right? It says, and ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your host out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall you observe this day throughout your generations by an ordinance forever.
Wasn't no other day.
That's right. It wasn't no other day. That's right. Let us go.
18. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 1 and 20th day of the month at even. 7 days there shall be no leaven found in your houses. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a sojourner or one that is born in the land.
And we supposed to eat it for 7 days. Now the Jews celebrate an 8-day period. But that's not what we do. 7 days. But this year, we're going to end up doing that. Because the 7th day comes in Thursday at sundown till Friday sundown. No one's going to have a time to go to the store and get no bread. So you're going to be continuing into Shabbat eating unleavened bread. That's what it's going to be. This year, that's how it's going to be. So unless you're living with your mother or you're living with someone that doesn't keep this, and then don't hate on people that might walk in here with a sandwich, you know, because they live with somebody different. But if you are Israelite home, you wouldn't have any bread with you. You wouldn't have any bread with you. It's going to be 8 days you're going to eat unleavened bread. Let us go.
20. Ye shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitation shall ye eat unleavened bread. Then Moses called for the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you lambs according to your families and kill the Passover lamb. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, then strike the lintel and the 2 side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out of the house, the door of his house, until morning. And
none of you shall, specific instructions. So none of you shall eat anything leavened. That's right. It's a beautiful time because we get to, man, we, believe it or not, this is good for your body. Yes, it is. Whether you think it's good for your body because you concentrate more on fruits, vegetables, on things that the body needs. And it's a 7-day period that your body gets to go through that cleansing. That's a beautiful thing. The body needs, the intestines need a break on certain things. Because you got this, the preserves or the food that are preserves, they do harm to us, whether we think it or not. Because in order to preserve something, for something to sit on the shelf for so long, like a cake or anything like that, think about what they got to put in there for a cake not to go bad. Now, when you make a cake at home, if you leave it out for, what, about 2-3 days?
Start to go bad.
Yeah, you start tasting that, especially if it's a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
You know, in the summertime, depending on how the temperature is, it starts to go sour. It starts to go bad.
Exactly.
But that cake on the shelf, that intimates could stay up there for forever. So what is it that they're putting in there to keep it fresh without it even being refrigerated? It's not refrigerated because we know refrigeration do preserve.
Yeah.
All right, they got people that preserve like they wedding cakes, like from one year to another, just throwing it in the freezer. And then they take it out like for 1 year anniversary, they cut another piece. People do that, and the cake is, you know, it was in the freezer. But on the shelf, what are they putting in there? So now when we eat that, what does that do to us? So now we have all types of things going on now. We got the rise in cancer. We have a rise in blood pressure and diabetes. We have a rise in all these things within our community because of the things that we consume and the things that we put in our bodies. And the things that we put in our bodies is the things that's affecting us. Because there's a lack of a balance. Everything is a balance. You got to have a balance. Like they tell you, you got to have a balance in your diet. Right? And these are the things that help to preserve us. This is actually a well-balanced meal right here that God has given us. He's given us unleavened bread. He's given us lamb. And he's given us bitter herbs. Now, what we see as bitter herbs today, we don't know what they looked at, but I look at it as more as like a vegetable type thing. You know, a herb that was like leaf, you know. You understand? So you have your vegetable or your herb, and you got your meat, and you got your unleavened bread. This is what we had. A well-balanced meal right here. Let us go.
23. For Yahweh will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he seeth the blood on the lintel and on the 2 side posts, Yahweh will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you.
That's only if we follow the instruction.
That's right.
See, God has given us specific instructions. He said, I already chose you. You my people. So I'm going to go over your homes, and I'm going to affect the Egyptians' homes because they're not going to follow this. But now I'm sure that there were some Egyptians that said, I'm rocking with y'all. I'm sure that there was. Like, I'm rocking with y'all, man. Y'all God is the truth. You mean all these signs, the moraine, the locusts, the blood, the frogs, and all that, and these fools still believing in Geb? And they still believing in Amun Ra and all this? Nah, I'm not with that. I denounce all them gods.
I'm going to hang out with you guys. Oh, yeah.
And this also, there's a new concept that's happening in Israel about henotheism. I spoke about this before. Henotheism is a concept that, let me get this right, that Yahweh is an avatar of El. What does that mean? That El is the supreme God. El is the supreme God. Yahweh is one of the gods that El dispersed for all the nations of the earth. So Chemosh is the god of the Philistines. Baal is the god of such and such, whatever nation. And these gods, and what the concept says is that all these gods exist. So it says that each god has power over their own land. Right? So therefore, Yahweh has power in Israel. That Chemosh has power in Philistia. And these gods control these different regions. Right? They don't have any power under any other jurisdiction. Meaning that Chemosh can't come, a Philistine can't come to Israel and call upon Chemosh and Chemosh deliver them. This is what's going on. This is the stuff that's out there right now. So now, if The Egyptians have Ra. I believe that's their highest deity, I believe. And this is who they worship, right? How is it that if henotheism is right, how is it that Yahweh is going to have so much power in the land of Egypt? Because that's being disproved. God done turned the water to blood. He brought up flood. This is all in Egypt. So if henotheism was right, then that means that Yah will have no power in Egypt to do any of that.
Only in Canaan land.
Yeah, only in Canaan land. So all we got to do is read to disprove all this type of stuff that people is bringing up and gain some understanding.
Amen.
Let us go.
24.
24.
And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever.
Forever.
And it shall come to pass when ye come into the land which Jehovah shall give you, according as he has promised, that ye shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? That ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of Jehovah's Passover, for he passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses, and the people bowed their head and worshiped.
And that's what the Passover story that you heard Chief Meckel read last night, that's the purpose of that, because we're supposed to remember it every year and recite it to our children, recite it to our males, and let them know that the Most High God passed over the houses of the Israelites in the land of Egypt, and he executed judgment against those Egyptians for what they did unto us. Let us go.
28. And the children of Israel went and did so. So as Jehovah had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they.
Said the children of Israel did so. One of the rare occasions where it don't say, and the children of Israel did that which was evil in the sight of the Most High again. Amen. That's a rare occasion. But that sometimes comes after you getting your butt whipped, you getting your behind kicked, then you tend to listen a little bit more. Because they've been under hard labor in Egypt. Wasn't no Shabbat day off, wasn't any of that off. Go work. Moses, you talking about going to take a vacation in the wilderness? You know, y'all got too much time on y'all hand. Y'all going to get the straw, and you're going to still produce the same amount of bricks. Y'all got too much time on your hand. So it's time for y'all to go out there and do some extra work. Amen. Let us go.
29. And it came to pass at midnight that Jehovah smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat upon his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in a dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. Everybody
gets it. No one gets away. Why? Because y'all was throwing them babies in that Nile River. So no one gets away. I'm going to execute my judgment against all the firstborn in Egypt. Let us go.
30. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians. And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead.
So there was not one house where there was not one dead. Let us go.
And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, rise up, get you forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel, and go and serve Jehovah as ye have said. Take your flocks and your herds, as ye had said, and be gone. And bless me also.
Bless me also. Prior to this, he hardened his heart 10 times, right? Yep. He would not let them go. No. But now God is finally broken. It said, man, take everything that belongs to you and get out of here. And you know why? While you on the way out, just throw me a blessing. You just finished seeing everything just get destroyed in your land. Amen. Now, this is where it says, how it goes, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall swear. Amen. That Jehovah is God. And when God gets you to that point in your life, you have to acknowledge that Jehovah is God. Because he will get you there. The thing is acknowledging. And then he begins to work with you. But if you don't acknowledge, sometimes we could be sitting here and we don't acknowledge. We could be born in this way of life, but we don't acknowledge. We could be doing this for years and doing it by rote, but we don't acknowledge that he is the one that sustains us.
Amen.
But he got to get you to your lowest point. And when you get to your lowest point, and then you start really crying out to him, you really start crying out to him, and then you acknowledge. And then you acknowledge that he is the one. And you said, please, Yah, please, you're the only one that could deliver me. Please get me out of this situation. And that's what he's looking for, that contrite spirit. That's what he's looking for, that humble spirit. But when you got that arrogance, when you got that ego, remember what I told you that ego comes from? It's a Latin word that means I. So you're only thinking about yourself. I do this, do that. Me. Acknowledge me. Bow down to me. When you are a servant of Yah, you serve the people. You're the servant. So you're not supposed to be serving yourself off the people.
Amen. Amen.
You're a servant. That means you have a lot of sleepless nights.
Amen.
That means you have a lot of work you got to put in because you serve the people. That's right. The shepherd, Prince Rishad told me something that was pertinent. He said, the shepherd don't lead from the front, you know.
No.
He said, if a shepherd led from the front, the wolves, the bears, all his flock will be gone.
Yeah. Lead from the back.
A shepherd leads from the back. And he carries a shepherd's hook so that if one of the flock is straying away, that he gently, he don't yank them back. He goes like this and guides them right back on.
Makes sense.
A shepherd does not lead from the front.
Amen.
A shepherd leads from the back.
Amen.
And he cares for the flock.
Amen.
That's what a shepherd does. So look at Moses.
Yeah.
Moses didn't have any great title. He was just a servant of Yah.
Yeah.
His brother became the high priest. He was the one that assigned all the Levites to do what they had to do. Bezalel and all those guys had jobs to do, but Moses was just a servant.
That's it.
A shepherd leading from the back. Moses didn't want glory and credit. When the Most High God said, he said, step to the side because I'm going to destroy this wicked and rebellious people. Moses said, please, God. He said, what would the nations around say? That you couldn't handle them? You brought them out of Egypt and you could not handle them. He said, you know what? Blot my name out your book. He said, let them live. That's what a shepherd does. A shepherd sacrifices himself for the flock because if a bear, because it said Dawid did what?
Yeah, Dawid.
Huh? He said he took him out of the mouth of the lion. You know what that is? A goat, a lion, and me. He could have that goat. You got it. Got it, goat. I'm gonna tell the rest of the flock that you went out valiantly. But a shepherd is going to be like, I'm not taking losses.
Amen.
David couldn't go back to Jesse talking about, hey,
not one.
Then David, why did I make you a shepherd?
Not one. Amen.
If you can't defend the flock.
Amen.
You know, every time I lose 1 or 2 goats, how much money's going out the house?
Amen. Not one.
So a shepherd has to be willing to put his life on the line for the flock. Let us go.
33. And the Egyptians were urging upon the people to send them out of the land in haste, for they said, we are all but dead.
We are all but dead, because they thought that, man, this is the ultimate judgment. We're going to all die. We're going to all die, so y'all get out of here. Please get out of here. Get out of here. Please, as fast as you can. Let us go.
34.
Uh-huh.
And the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading troughs being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they asked of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they let them have what they asked, and they despoiled the Egyptians.
They despoiled. Give me that. All them years of labor, give me that.
Ante up.
Give me that, ante up. Come on, come over here, come over here. I like that gold chain, come over here. That's what we did. It's called reparation. It's called payback. All them years of servitude that we had in Egypt were for free. That was free labor. So when you do people like that, some way down the line, you got to pay up. So it is going to be with this country. You got to pay up. You got to pay up. Because God going to make you pay up. You're going to have to pay up. They talk about black people are shiftless and lazy and don't like. Man, now black people built this country on their backs. On their backs. You better read some history. And you come from another place and you black and you talking about, oh, the American black is shiftless. Well, you better read some history. You better do some history research and find out what the forefathers in this land, black forefathers, did for you to be able to come here and get a check.
With your uppity self.
And understand that we're not different. And understand that the British Crown made you feel like you were superior, but after you live one generation here, you have kids here, your kids assimilate. And are the same thing. Don't matter where you come from. If you come from Haiti, Jamaica, Guyana, Trinidad, Panama, Costa Rica, you black, give them what, you know what? Even if they was born there, they came here when they was 2-3 years old. Just give them some time. Public school. Ain't no different. Ain't no different. They trying to assimilate as soon as they come there because they got that funny accent. Man, when I first came here from Panama, I understood English. I spoke English, but I didn't speak it that straight because my grandmother only spoke English to me in Panama. But when I went to 191, that's the middle of the hood. You got you got everybody off of Prospect from down to, Park Place everywhere. Man, if it was some sisters in that classroom that if they didn't take care of me, the wolves would have got me. Yeah, it was some girls. I'll never forget it. Arlena, Adrian, and I forgot the other girl, but they were.
I'll never forget the girl I forgot.
Sicily. I got it. Oh, Sicily, you see. But they protected me, man. They protected me because you had the wolves. They was like, who is this guy right here? But they protected me. By the time I had one summer in New York listening to hip hop and looking at TV, time I went to junior high school, I was okay. But yeah, man, it's for real. So we have to understand that it's no difference with us. Don't walk around with your nose stuck up in the air. We all the same people. We were just dropped off to different ports. Your bondage might have not been the same as the people that was here or that was over there or that was over here. But understand one thing, that we're God's people. Just understand that. And understand that you got to have compassion for your people because God will show you to your face. And you know how he shows you? Through your children. Because you thought that you were better. And God showed you through your children that you're not any better. So get your nose from being stuck up in the air, bring it down on level ground, and because somebody has a funny accent, don't look at them different, right? And because someone is from here, don't look at them as being less. Understand and know that we the same people. And appreciate what we could get from each other. Because sometimes you got a friend be like, man, can I come to your house? What your mother making that curry chicken, right? Yeah, I'm coming over there. Man, can I come to your house? Your mother making macaroni and cheese, right? Because there's certain cultures and traditions that cook things differently. And that's how we get back together. But no one is, man, that's one thing I'm glad that my teachers taught me. that there was no difference from one person from here to over here, that we're all the same people.
Amen.
And that we must love and appreciate that and respect that. Understand the culture. You're going to look at some people that come from the Caribbean, seem like they arguing. But they not arguing, they just talking. Oh, shut up. And they talking with their hands, and you're like, they're about ready to get down. But it's just the culture. Just the culture. It was like a culture clash like in the 80s. I remember that. It was like, you know, brothers came from Jamaica and they talk in a certain way, and brothers from here would look at them and be like, what's going on? But then after a while, everybody, you know, you get the reggae, the hip hop, and everything start mixing together, and this one big pot. And I'll show you how much they assimilated. You know how many deportees there's back in them countries? Carrying on the same things that they learned here, that they assimilated to, but they back home now. In Panama, they call them the white t-shirt crew. Because when they land over there, they got white t-shirts because they assimilated.
White tee. Amen.
Yeah. So there's no difference. We all the same people. Learn to love each other. Learn to respect each other. Let us go.
37. And the children of Yisrael journeyed from Ramses to Sukkot, about 600,000 men on foot, besides children. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, in flocks and herd, and a very much cattle.
A mixed multitude. We came out of there a mixed multitude. So it wasn't just Israelites coming out. It might have been some Cushites that was there, because Cush is right next to there. You got some Egyptians that's coming out of there. Because wherever we go, we influence people. So that's why we can't stand on racism.
Amen.
Because somebody here from another land might come in here and want to learn about God, and guess what? We have to teach them about God. It's our job.
Amen.
It's not our job to turn them away because of the color of their skin. That would be the most ignorant thing that you would do. Because God is a God for all people.
Amen.
Yah is a God for all people. Let us go.
39. And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they brought forth out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt, and they could not tarry, neither had they prepared for themselves any victual. Now the time that the children of Israel dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. And it came to pass at the end of 430 years, even the self same day, it came to pass that the hosts of Yahweh went out from the land of Egypt. It is a night of watching unto Yahweh for bringing them out of the land of Egypt. The same night is a night of watching unto Yahweh for all the children of Israel throughout their generations.
It's a night of watching throughout all their generations. That's why some brothers, they stay up and it's a night of watching. They try to carry the tradition of the watching the night, staying up the night and doing things like that. I could be honest, I ain't stay up the night. I fell asleep. I don't know how long I fell asleep. I know brothers was talking. The next thing I know, I was out, and then when I woke up, everybody was gone. They left me in the room by myself. But yeah, it's a night of watching. If we will be in our land, these are the things that we will have to do. We will have to offer this lamb, you know, without breaking any bones, and whatever got left over, we will burn it in the fire. Amen. These are the things that we will have to do. But because we're not in the land, and certain offerings, like it says in Deuteronomy chapter 12, are done in the land, we don't practice that here. We do a memorial, a remembrance of what that night will be. So that's why when we do the traditional the matzot with the bitter herb and the lamb, it's tradition. It's a traditional thing that we do, because we cannot have an offering in the land of our captivity. Those offerings are done in the land of Israel. So we keep a memorial of it. We do the lamb, we do the matzot, and we do the bitter herbs. That's a remembrance and that's a memorial. Let us go.
43. And Yahweh said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no alien eat thereof, but every man's servant that is bought for money. When thou hast circumcised him, then he shall eat thereof.
So somebody can't come and visit you that's an alien to the land, and then they have this offering. No, this offering is set aside. Right. So it says if you have a servant that was bought with money, then he must needs be circumcised, right, and then he could partake of the offering. Let us go.
45. A sojourner and a hired servant shall not eat thereof. In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth aught of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone thereof.
So you're not free to carry it from house to house. No, if it's in this home, if you and your neighbor are going to do it together, then you do it in this home, and when it's done, you burn what you got to burn, and that's that. Let us go.
47. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to Yahweh, let all his males be circumcised. And then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is homeborn in the land, but no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof. One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and to him that is a stranger that sojourneth among you. Thus did all the children of Israel, as Yahweh commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass the self same day that Yahweh did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their hosts. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. On that self same day, meaning that connecting that night to the day, on that self same day, the Most High God brought the children of Israel out of Egypt.
It wasn't another day.
It wasn't another day.
Amen.
It was on that day that the Most High God brought them. That day included that night with the ordinances and everything that was set on that day, which happened in the night. So a day includes a night. So we thank the Most High God for understanding. We thank the Most High God for wisdom. For all the things that he gives us, because those are the things that will help to sustain us. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you, the Most High God, for this season once again. And I ask the Most High God that he will continue to bless us, keep us. Where's more Yitzhak? He just disappeared. You go get him? I mean, we could close out. I thought he would have been here. Let us all rise and conclude. Hoping and praying that the Most High God will bless us all. Yeah, don't matter. So I say these words, I hope that the Most High God would even grant us all a blessing. Hallelujah. Wa daber Yehovah el Moshe lemor, daber el Aharon we el Benal lemor, ko tebarku et bnei Yisrael amor lahem. And Yehovah spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak unto Aharon, unto his son, saying, on this wise he shall bless the children of Yisrael, ye shall say unto them, Yivareka Yehovah Yishmareka, Ya'ir Yehovah Panawaleka Wikuneka, Yisai Yehovah Panawaleka Wayasem Leka Shalom. May Yehovah bless thee and keep thee. May Yehovah make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. May Yehovah lift up his countenance upon thee and may he grant thee peace. Hallelujah. May the Most High God bless each and every one of you. And to the people online, we will return at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Hallelujah.